There's just 1 minute to showtime.
The engines are on.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
When they wrote up the systems and the rule set that we use, did working people get to write a line? What class of men on pen and paper jotted down their clues? With capital the heart of their design. When 90 million want a thing, but some shareholders say no, which class of people get to have their way? The people read the fine print, say that this thing has got to go, and we'll start writing a new contract here today. Don't you know that hundreds will work and one man keeps the money? They don't think they gotta tell us why. When they say the new social contract, all the bosses will be gobsmacked and everyone will want a sign. Oh, yeah, everyone will want a sign.
All right. Okay. Our bumper worked this week. I think it was because there was a change. It looked like there was a small change in the way that the setup works. So okay, that's good. Nice. So welcome. Thank you for being here. We are glad to be with you again, and we have Jared back after his most excellent trip to China. And if you want to check out our archive, you can see we did a couple of episodes. Kind of going over what he saw and what he experienced while he was there without, the influencer type of point of view, so that, you're getting kind of an honest view of things. But we are very happy to have Mr. Mayor Jared back with us. So
What's going on, everybody? I'm
yes.
happy to be here. Good morning.
Yes. And thankfully, we're kind of in this, thankfully, but it's sort of like, what's going on? Because it's sort of like a, nothing serious has happened for a few weeks loop. And it's a little bit concerning, but it's also like, okay, like, let's go to our corners and catch our breath here a little bit and see, what's going on and kind of deal with, all the regular things. Obviously, all the problems are still there. The problems are still the problems, but there just haven't been new problems lately. So that's that's kind of a good thing. And I think a lot of it has to do with, we're getting further into the Trump presidency of the second Trump presidency here, and I think a lot of the wind has been taken out of his sails. Like pretty much at this point, in the first term, he was like everybody was just clutching their pearls. It was, oh my God, he did this. Oh my God, he did this. Now this time the shock value stuff doesn't work as much. Everybody kind of has figured out how to fight him at different things, like kind of metaphorically fight, not like real fight, but like try to just kind of ruin his day pretty well. And I mean that's fun to watch, obviously, but because there was this. I think one of the funniest things, because like I don't really care. Like to me, he's just like a smokescreen, and well, I mean, that should be obvious to everybody. But like he's really a smokescreen just to act like an idiot and go bah, 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 in front of everybody, and then all the people running the government and into the dirt are the ones calling the shots. But he kind of doesn't want to do it anymore. He just falls asleep in meetings now. Like he's like, fuck it, I don't care. So, and probably also, and we can kind of unpack this a little bit more, but I think that they're doing the kind of the Biden arrangement and covering up that, oh no, falling asleep in meetings is normal and your legs spilling over your shoes is totally healthy. So I think that at this point, they're also kind of lying about how that he's not as well as they want him to think. And they always do this. He went for a checkup, and fearless leader is the fearlessest leader that anybody's ever had. So don't worry. He wrote the book on health. Yeah, okay. No cause for concern there. Yeah, so we have just kind of we're kind of touch base, I think, today with some things going on. Obviously, the blight of AI is still going on, but we might be inching towards a bubble burst here. We've got our fingers crossed. So
Here's somebody put that in a way I hadn't thought about, where it's like, how come it takes 10 billion trillion years and dollars to make like an inch of railroad, but these data centers are popping up in like 10 minutes? Like, man, we sure can build really fast when the will exists, I guess.
Well, that's, the whole idea of that happening is for to try to get it up as fast as possible before there's any possibility of
How come
legislation.
a Canadian man, how come a foreign billionaire can come in and build 1,000 data centers in a weekend, but we can't get like a train stop built in a generation?
Or a bridge replaced anywhere, or a subway station that's not full of flood and rats. So
or a nuclear power plant.
Right,
or
exactly.
anything.
Exactly. And that's the thing. They're trying to make sure that they get these things up as fast as possible to keep from any potential legislation. Like,
you
we're
have,
all still worried about that.
City council denies permit to data center, and then they built it anyway, and it's like,
right?
Okay, so there's just all right.
Yeah, and that's the era we're in too, and that is extremely concerning. Of like, we know that everything was fake before, but they lied, and you tended to believe it a little bit. Like, you're like, oh well, they said no, and those are the rules, so no is no. No, of course that shit's right out the window. So no, so that we look at this situation as this is kind of a bellwether situation, because yes, they're doing it, but it's also. We know now that data centers have basically existed for a really long time. We just called them server farms before, like it was really like a normal, where are we going to put all the, we got these websites, everybody's increasingly online, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, these data centers, the one in Utah that's like the size of Utah, is like like it is like literally like a nuclear weapons worth of heat every hour or some shit. That's obviously not to run internet stuff, right? Like, that's not what that's for. We know that this is at least in part due to a mass surveillance scenario that's happening, but even that doesn't need as much as we're seeing around the United States and around the world. It's not like we're like the only country this is happening in. So there's, we can unpack that a little bit more. And Jared, why don't you get us started with your Bolivia story? I think that's probably the most interesting thing that we have to cover here.
Like a lot of
in other countries, be like, hey guys, we could do, this could be us.
Like a lot of things I talk about, there's not a satisfying conclusion or like arc. It's just, but it is a thing that's happening that you're not hearing about this on your MSNBCs, and there's probably a reason, but who could speculate? So Bolivia, you might remember, is like, oh, Bolivia, a socialist country. They had elections and they vote in the Socialist Party pretty consistently. Well, Evo Morales, like it seems like the Greater West has never forgiven him for winning the presidency, and he's like the mid 2000s, like 2008, 9ish, I think. They kind of famously kicked out a lot of U.S. influence, a lot of like your USAID before Doge, like way before that, they got kicked out. So then like the West was real mad. And at one point, after Evo Morales had won his second or third, I think, presidential election, the West was like, oh, your election was fake. And what was Evo's response? He said, all right, I don't think the elections were fake, but we'll do them again for you if that'll make you feel better. And they're like, shut up. And then they just ran through anyway with procedures like, all right, so if you're trying to steal an election, why would you be like, let's just go ahead and run back the elections and have the vote again? Like, if you have that kind of confidence. Anyway, then Evo had to flee the country, and then they had this a highly Catholic lady who's talking about like, we will kill all the natives, like in her speeches. Anyway, she was the president for like a week. And then they actually had another election, because the result of the election was that Evo Morales won. The West said, we don't like that. So Evo was like, okay, I'm getting out of here before they kill me. So then this other lady got to be the unelected president for a little bit. Then they had another election, and the socialists won again. The MAS, Movement Towards Socialism, Movimiento a Socialismo, or however you say it in Spanish. And then they've now had a couple elections since, and they've now had some disputed elections where like, no, we think the socialists won and you guys are like effed with the elections. So anyway, there's a large unrest among the Bolivian poor people because they aren't happy with the current government, like the decisions it is making, and they think that that their election was basically stolen from them. So what has the reaction been? We have what I think is more accurately called a general strike. You have all these rando villages where people are going out. There's nothing significant in this video. Like, you're not going to see anybody's head get blown off or anything. But it just shows people milling about in the street. You see a cloud of tear gas because they're trying to get them off the street. Because they've kind of ground their economy to a halt by blocking a lot of the roadways. Like, even out in these rando... In the cities, there's, like, you know, your classic protest... Like, what you would expect to see in protests. Clashes with anti-government demonstrators and the police. You even had a famous shot of some guy being like, "Over there is my son." Like, it was a guy who's protesting, and his kid is a cop. So he's like, "My own son is here to oppress me." But
right.
then out in these villages, they you see them rolling around tires. They just like pack the streets with tires and bricks and make them otherwise unnavigable. And most of the workers are, I should say, like the poorest people in Bolivia. Bolivia is one of your only, or the only, like indigenous-run country that you could think of in like the American sense, where Evo Morales was of the native people of Bolivia, and his government was largely that, and his voter base is massive. Like, amongst the native population, he's like 80-90% approval rating. Like, they really like him. Similar thing to what's kind of been going on in Mexico, where you got Steinbaum, who their biggest chunk of electorate are native Mexicans. Like, so if you're going to be a big wokey American, how are you going to be anti-Bolivia? They're running their own shit. You're going to tell them they're wrong. Oh, these dumb natives don't know who to vote for. Like, is that what you're going to pull? Because it seems like the common thread here isn't race or gender or anything. It's if they're in any way, even the tiniest molecule socialist, or talk in any way positively about trying to do these programs. Because I'll tell you what, under Evo Morales and MAS, what am I going to say here? What stats went up? Literacy went up, hunger went down, access to water and electricity and like toilets. Like, Bolivia was like this jungle country with freaking no infrastructure and just wilderness and lack of roads. Actually, it's funny because now they're blocking these roads that were built by the socialists, so these people could actually, like, get to a hospital or something. Just basic infrastructure. And then the big bad West has a problem, and partially why there's a lot of lithium in Bolivia. They got some ingredients that the people that capital with a capital C would like for very, very cheap. And if you're under the control of a socialist government, they are going to charge closer to what the stuff is actually worth than the nothing that you could just take it from, like they do to like Yemen and name another quote third world country. But this is happening in Bolivia. I think people should be aware. Ongoing.
Yeah, it's an ongoing situation, but I mean, this really, of course, again, it's like he just says, we don't have a conclusion to this. We don't know where this is going to go. But the idea here is that, like, if you are one of these, we get this from the liberal side a lot. Why are they tearing things up? Why are everybody fighting in the streets? That's why because you burned the police station. No, okay, all right. They're doing this peacefully, okay? They're demonstrating peacefully. So it can obviously
be done. They're not out lynching all the police. They're not out murdering dozens.
If that's the argument, then there you go. There's your peaceful protest where things are actually happening and getting done, and they're blocking the roads and they're shutting down commerce, and like, so if that's the argument that you have, like, why are they tearing shit up all the time? Like, because, well, it's our shit to tear up. First of all, nobody takes care of it, so like, if we want to, we can, and that's always been my argument with like the January 6th stuff. Like, just because you don't like the team who did it, which is genuinely awful, like, doesn't mean it's not our shit to tear up. We can tear it up if we want to. That crap was made by slaves. Tear it up. Like, who cares? Like, if you make us mad, we can tear our stuff up. Like, other places do it all the time. Like, they tear their own shit up. Like, every other day, like, France sprays manure all over the goddamn capitals. So, like, they could do that too if you want to. That's like, everyone has different versions of things, and some stuff works and some stuff doesn't. It's just, we historically know that, like, generally it's like, when you have the torches and the axe handles, things seem to move a little more expeditiously. So we'll keep our eye on the story and see what happens.
To get a tiny bit, I don't want to be too jargony about this, but this demonstrates that after Bolivia kind of had its revolution, or at least some kind of revolution, to get Evo in there in the first place. Like that was the evidence that it kind of had happened. Like, look, there's going to be changes around here, and the changes were happening. But this shows, like, unfortunately, might show what happens if you leave the door open for the forces of reaction. The West is not just going to be like, oh, okay, we give up. It's fine. You can just have your country now and like be sovereign and make decisions for yourselves. No, they're going to show back up. And if you have these like BS Western style faux democratic elections, that's how you can finagle your way back in. Oh, a bunch of foreign money, but like the same way that like AIPAC buys all of our all of our various politicians, great and small, everywhere from like dog catcher to frickin' Secretary of State, they're all in their freaking pockets. You think that you couldn't exert that kind of that a similarly moneyed force could not exert that kind of power over a country like Bolivia, that is, for all intents and purposes, probably a lot more manipulable than. So, I mean, the U.S. is some of the most manipulated people in the world, but you get what I'm saying here. Like, $1 million in the U.S. gets you this much progress. $1 million in Bolivia gets you even more. Like, how many freaking ads and, like, they have free and open elections, which was how all this crap started, was that they were saying that their elections were not free and fair. And it's like, unfortunately, it looks like they were a little bit too open and free and fair, and you start understanding why in Cuba they can. Yes, you can. There are like quote there are opposition parties even in China. There are parties that are on the ballot that are not just the CPC, but you can't be a party that's like, our party is about disassembling the public trust and selling our souls back to fucking United Fruit Company or whatever equivalent there is today. You can't do that. You're not allowed to be that kind of party. You can't be the let's all die party. You can be the we have disagreements on the best way to get to our common goal, which would be the things I'm talking about: literacy rates and infant mortality. And, you know, like if you're, how do we best serve the people?
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
So this is take this with a grain of salt. This is the Google AI overview of like what's happening in Bolivia. It's like core drivers of the unrest. It's like economic strain, demonstrators largely consisting of subsistence farmers, labor unions, and labor unions are a big part of this thing. I didn't talk about that. Like that's who was organizing all this, is all these various, because they had to suddenly have a big strong union movement after the socialists show up. I say show up, they're from there. They're not an outside force. It's the people governing themselves, the people of Bolivia making decisions for themselves. Are protesting inflation, the abolition of fuel subsidies, and the rising cost of basic necessities, policy backlash, President Paz's shift towards free market reforms, and structural austerity has heavily eroded his support base, prompting protesters to demand his resignation. Then political fallout. Demonstrators have drawn political lines with the government and right-wing figures, alleging the protests are being instigated by former President Evo Morales. It's all evil Evo in there with his controlling everything. You know, not like the World Economic Fund or whatever, the International Monetary Fund or all that shit. It's not them. It's Evo Morales. This farmer boy from the jungles of Bolivia is controlling everything. While protesters deny these claims and
indigenous people are always going to be blamed for no matter where it is or what it is. It's always going to be they're the ones that are doing insurrection.
So they're doing national roadblocks I'm talking about, and they're getting cracked down on more and more, which shows you that it's doing something. It's got to be working in some way, because they keep writing new laws of like, you can just shoot the protesters. Don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah. That's what we get here. And again, you're kind of seeing the middle ground here, because, you're like, okay, well, when the United States does nonviolent protests, everybody makes fun of it and calls it a parade. Well, that's very different, and it is, because this is actually moving.
Spend a month shutting down the highway system and let's see what happens.
This has organization behind it. This has something more than, what can I make for social media? Like, everybody gets to go there and make Instagram posts and TikTok videos and shit like that. This is for a common good, for a common cause, to protest something that is affecting them, and everybody is taking, well, I don't want to say everybody, but a massive amount of people are taking part in it, because they actually see the investment of, like
a massive amount of normal, for lack of a better word, normal people. It's not like 20 kids from the university are coming out and shutting down a highway and like having a die-in or whatever. These are like hillbillies, a mass of hillbillies are out there shutting down their economy, which is that's what your communism kind of is. When the
Yeah. So
hillbillies assert their own interest, which happens to be
it is.
most of our interest. We're mostly hillbillies out here, everybody.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing too. I mean, a lot of us are unaffiliated. Like we don't all like very few of us, I think, at this point would even be like have any government jobs. You know, like they'll be like, I don't want to risk my job, or like very few people are even employed by the government at this stage. Very few people are benefiting materially from are benefiting in a way of survival by the way that all kinds of any kind of beneficiary things have been cut so badly back, in food stamps and things like this in a time when inflation is high. And I want people to look at that and realize this is an extermination tactic. This is a eugenics tactic. This is very, it's a tale as old as time.
Jeff
Make food
Bezos says we should
unaffordable.
get Jeff Bezos says we should get UBI now. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I talked about that a few weeks ago. I think I was just me, but
My parents talked to me about that. Like barely normal people here heard about.
Yeah,
this.
the thing of it is to kind of unpack that. It's like, okay, so like Satan can be right about stuff sometimes, like this, and it's like, okay, well, the main argument against UBI is just like the main argument against the dividend in Alaska for oil. It's like, oh, well, that just means that prices are going to go absolutely insane. You're going to be paying $20 for a gallon of milk. Have you come to the grocery store lately? Okay, like we got nothing and we got nothing. Nothing plus nothing equals nothing, and so that's what I was saying. This is a eugenics movement, which we saw the evidence of in Epstein file releases. Still waiting TikTok on the rest of those to come out. Like, remember when like Anonymous, remember that? Like they're like pretended for a while that they were a thing. They're like, oh, we're hackers. We're for real. This isn't fake or anything. Like anybody across anywhere, any of these dark web people want to get in on the, like leak those documents now. Like we haven't forgotten.
Where's our next Ed Snowden? Everybody saw what happened to Julian Assange. Like, no, I don't want to. Go to prison for 30 years.
That's the American way. Apathy. Like we're so apathetic at this point. It's not even about like, oh, well, is anything bad going to happen to me or what? And I just don't really feel like it should be me. Like I don't really want to be that guy. And that's the problem that we really see at this point is this country has bred, and I think just the West in general has bred a very specific kind of apathy over the past about 40 years that it's just like, all right, like just keep passing the buck, we'll just keep kicking the can down the road. Meanwhile, everything is falling the fuck apart. But that's what this is. We literally did see that there was the correspondence between billionaires talking about Bill Gates being in this conversation about how to exterminate poor people. Guess what? It's happening right now. When you make homelessness illegal, when you're making prisoner camps, when you make food and housing unaffordable, what happens? It drives up the crime rate because people become desperate. Then they get put into situations where just existing becomes illegal. And then you get for your free laborers, then you have slavery again. Like that is how you force people into the system, because then they can't afford food, they can't afford medicine, they can't afford anything. And it's like, well, okay, so you really think the government wants to take on that burden? Yeah, when they can turn them into free labor, they can, which they already do. Every major corporation in the United States uses prison labor. There are pictures out there that you can see where it's like got an actual prisoner in like the back of a McDonald's with an ankle chained to something. Like in this country, this happening right now, and they don't get anything for it. It's free labor. And there's also like there's slogans that are the prisons that do this, that rent their people out that do this, say like let the prisoners do it for free. Like why pay people? It's the same thing you see with the AI. Like why pay employees? Like we're seeing a movement towards basically something incredibly awful, and and it's just tightening the noose on people, and then you're also seeing this starting to affect people who it might not have or would not have or didn't affect just a few years ago. So you're seeing people now losing their jobs. They have no social safety net. They can't qualify for SNAP or any kind of benefits in any kind of way because of all the red tape and all the ridiculousness going on with it. So there's no good that can come out of living in a society like that, where everything is diametrically against the people it is supposed to be serving. And I'm not only speaking about poor people. It's okay to have money. Everybody wants to have enough money to live. And if you do, good for you. But they're also not serving you as well.
At this point, when I say poor people, I mean anybody with like less than $1 million. I think people underestimate how much money it takes to be even like approaching like whatever, like the colloquial terms like middle class. That doesn't actually like mean anything, but like if you are actually in the quote middle in the U.S. at this point, it's fewer and fewer people, and it's like if you don't have at least a few million that you're sitting around with, like you're not even like you can't even get a seat at the table of the game to begin playing the game. Like you are poor people. Like what you can be making 200K a year. It's like all right. It's
Yeah,
three
and you
bad
do.
things and you're out.
Yeah, if you hear people online complaining about people complaining about that, saying like, "Oh, I make 200,000 a year, but I am like on the edge, like I cannot afford to live," and everybody's like, "Oh, go suck a dick, whatever, shut the fuck up. Oh, you're so poor. I'm so sad," like. And yeah, of course they could cut corners, of course they could downgrade, but that is what I mean when I say that like. It's not just the absolute poor, but it's also like what used to be middle class or what might be considered that like at some point in history that's not now. You are also not being served in any meaningful way to exist, like that you are also just like Jared said, you're just a couple of bad months from being the elite poor, and which they should be referred to as, because like there's always the connotation, oh, that they got that way because they are stupid and they mismanage their money and they're ignorant hillbillies and they do drugs and they do crimes and shit like that. Like it's never about like, okay, this is like a systematic oppression that goes on and on and on. It's tale as old as time, about how these kind of things happen. But when you combine that with, like I said, there's very unique type of apathy that we have in this country now. That's where we just keep living this over and over. It's Groundhog's Day. Over and over and over again. It hasn't been that way since, we've talked about it seems like perpetual 2016-ish, but things were a lot better then. Like I think that things have just been on such a rapid downward slide that I think we have already crossed over into the collapse of the United States. I think it's probably happened this year, and now we're going to see what happens after. So, none of us have been through anything like that. And, there have been other smaller, revolutionary countries and moments where they had their things going on. We don't have to go to history like we always do with like Russia and France and Rome, but as our leading examples, but in the fall of the British Empire as well. But, this things aren't good. This is not a good thing. So the only real hope we have is that like after this point that things can like, I don't mean get better exactly, because they're not just it's not, you can't just be like, once Trump is gone, then, because we did that, it didn't work. But at some point people are going to have to start taking the reins on some things, and I think things are going to get kind of a little maybe troublingly tribal on the smaller level, but we could maybe use that to start rewriting the story in a more national way. If that, I don't know if that made exactly the sense that it made in my head, but it's just like, like if we start in the community level and people start kind of having new ideas about how things have to work, then that kind of spreads is the idea. And that's again why you see unions coming back and that kind of thing, because people are starting to understand, the power of community through those kind of things.
So I want to do a semi-quick World War III update, because I try to save talking about Iran and stuff, and Iran and stuff, just these small things. Until when like something actually happens, because we've been going back and forth on like, there's peace, there's war, there's peace, there's war. It's like, okay, he's clearly doing that. Not just he. It's not Trump doesn't act independently, but the machine is doing this to like, okay, the markets close on this day and they open on this day, and we just have to keep oil under $100 a barrel. So they kind of, the news is just manipulated. It'll sound really good or really bad depending, but nothing's actually changing. Like we aren't 2 seconds away from a deal. That's not real. We also aren't 2 seconds away from nuking each other. That's also, it's just, oh, it's Friday, oh, it's Monday, so the tone of the story must change. But something kind of different happened where Israel was still bombing Lebanon, but Iran bombed Israel, but not in retaliation to a bomb on Iran, but in retaliation to a bomb on Lebanon, establishing precedent of, if you attack regional allies, we will also consider that worth retaliation and will retaliate against you. So, and now just today, I'm like, okay, what's been going on? Because that was 2 days ago or yesterday. And we have an hour ago This is one of those like constant updating feed things. But I was going to scroll down and read a couple of them. We have 2 Lebanese paramedics wounded in Israeli attack on Tyre. The Israel like immediately responded by like, you know what, we're just going to bomb Lebanon again because we're kind of trying to take it over. They're the direct north neighbor of Israel. They're just smushing their way north, taking over big chunks of Lebanon. We'll see if they can keep it forever, but they're currently just taking over some towns, just rolling in. Oil prices, oil prices fall. Okay, this has made oil go down for some reason. Fall 4% to 7-week low. People who are supposed to know things say that we're running out of our oil reserves. So if you think gas prices are really bad now, they're going to get worse when our reserves run out. And Warren Buffett is selling all of his shit, which might be an actual indicator that, So if you have any, I'm just going to come across an alarmist because I say this like every month. If you have any like plane tickets to buy or big travel you're planning on doing, get them now because there's a chance in a month jet fuel will just cost a whole bunch, and what's already become a ridiculous expense will become you can't. It'll just become an impossible expense.
Yeah.
So buy your Thanksgiving travel tickets now. Brent futures fell through. Okay, I don't care. And then we got what will it take to secure a ceasefire? And you have Iran is still over here. Like we have this. You have the American just overall impression that Iran is this like dirt society that doesn't have anything going on, and it's like, no, man, it's a country of like 90 million people. Tehran is like a modern city, like by all accounts, probably nicer than some of ours. But
oh yeah, I feel like that's completely true. You know, you that is true. It's like, oh no, those dirt
Iran
people.
is not
no, like
Iraq.
no, they're advanced. Like they're like more than the United States is. You know, in a lot of cases.
UK sanctions against entities linked to Israel's settlers. Not enough. Amnesty rights groups. Okay, don't care about that one. What else we got? Latest confrontation. They're doing the song and dance of like, I called Netanyahu and I told him, and then Netanyahu was like, I called Trump and I told him. Which
Yeah, they had that
like,
story that came out a couple, I guess it was about a week ago, where, and it's how you know it was fake because it blew up with every single of the mainstream news sources. So like this is a completely manufactured story where like Trump that comes out and apparently has words with Netanyahu and it's like, everybody hates your fucking guts, and I'm only the only one saving you, and I'm tired of your shit, you know, like. That never fucking happened. Like, of course that never fucking happened. Like, whatever. Like, because like once again, and people are kind of starting to wake up to this idea. Like, the only other person like I've really seen talking about this in an open way is I saw Richard Medhurst talking about it, which is that like, which is we've been saying this the whole time. Israel is not an independent anything. Like, they are operating at the behest of the United States. They are the United States proxy in the Middle East, doing United States business. And if you want any more proof of that, Congress just approved a bill to merge the United States military with the Israeli military, and all that is just trying to make it look like it's like it wasn't part of the plan the whole time. Next, we'll be saying we declare them, you know, an American state. We declare them a sovereign nation under the banner of America. I'm not kidding. Like, this is for real where this is headed. And it's just because like they're tired of the bad press of, why are we giving Israel this money? Why do their soldiers get everything? Why do they get free college? Why don't any Israelis actually have jobs? Why do they just live off the United States government? Like, everybody's tired of this shit, right? What was that?
Is that, yeah, no one seems to be working. Well, the brown ones work.
Yeah, like that's
The
not
ones
new
from
news,
Poland
but
do
apparently
not.
like nobody has jobs. They just live for free. You know, like somebody's paying for that, and you want to guess who that is? Us guys. So we're living garbage lives so that they can, because their citizens are the military, or at least at some point in their lives have served within the military. They don't, you know, not everyone is active military all the time. But the point is that people, they know that the bad press is going on and on and on. So now if they fold them into officially the United States as a United States entity and just take the mystery out of it and so people stop saying behest and proxy about them, then they can just do things and just be like, yeah, that's us doing it. So what? We're doing it. This is like sort of America's last ditch effort to take over the world. That's what it basically is. Because then they just want it to look like. Go ahead.
It's a good point to keep in mind because as much as when we talk about Israel, yeah, we really like it isn't an outside thing it's not this small nation is controlling America. it's like a stop hitting yourself situation where it's like APAC money. It's just America money, but filtered. Okay, you send it over there, and then they send it back, and this like to create this illusion of there's this conflict, and what can we do, and blah, and then it also ends up it gives credence to like actual anti-Semites, like people who are just like, Israel's running everything. If only we could eliminate Israel. It's like, well, Israel is our thing. It's a thing we made up for the British, like us and the West, NATO, like capital, big C capital, like. It's over there to make sure these conflicts can continue so we can prevent the development of nations like Iran. Because Iran, they might want to like use their own resources for themselves, or they might get to decide what happens with their own stuff as opposed to, the NATO deciding what happens with it. It's the same thing as with frickin' Bolivia. It's just Iran is coming to more of a head, and they have more of an ability to stand up for themselves. Like, they have a military that is capable of, at the very least, frickin' holding this here. Iran does not lose with this shit going on and on and on forever. It in fact win. The only way that Iran could lose is if it takes some crappy deal and then just becomes another another Qatar or Oman or Saudi or whatever. Like, and, that's how it can lose.
That's another really good point about Iran, is that, like, again, they have this idea that, like, they're just like, like they don't know anything. They're just like out there in the desert, whatever.
They're
whatever.
They're psychotic Islamists.
But they have been like basically like I don't really know if it's strategic genius or if it's just like it's just this easy now to just keep saying no. Like, I don't know.
Well, all of our deals are fake. They already have a proven pattern, documented pattern of they call for negotiations, and then when people show up, they bomb the place to kill all the negotiators. Like, they've done that like twice now. So Iran's like, we don't even believe that you're trying to negotiate. No, we're not answering any phone calls.
No, exactly. Like,
talk to China, work your shit out.
Like, you don't know exactly the truth of it, but it does seem to be like every week Trump calls up and goes, please, and they go, no. So that's, I think, what we're looking at, and then they release a Lego video. So like that's kind of what we're, and then again, is it really like political genius? Is it really strategic military genius, or is it just that easy to realize that, like, the United States in particular has already gone off the cliff. Britain is right behind it, and Canada right behind that. And it's like, dude, what are we even looking at here? Like, why would you fight with somebody who really poses no actual threat to you? It's like I don't know if this is true, but we used to be told that, like, there was always this hard joke about how, like, North Korea would send faxes of threats to South Korea like weekly. Like, and I don't know if that's true, but that's a lot what this like US Iran thing feels like. Like, every week Trump is like, please, and they're like, no, and then so like, all right, here's a list of an angry fax we sent to you, and then Iran's like, Lego video in response. So like, just the level of trolling alone has been, a chef's kiss.
There are rumors now amongst high-ranking military people that Iran that Iran has at least one, if not multiple, nuclear weapons at this point, which may also be a reason that the rhetoric has slightly shifted a little bit. And I don't know if that's true or not. Did they develop their own? Did Russia hand them one? Did China? Did frickin' North Korea? And that made me think of North Korea and how our rhetoric on we sure stopped fucking with North Korea all of a sudden.
Right? I
wonder what changed. And then you get articles like this, which this is the frickin' Wall Street Journal. Like, this isn't the communist Gazette or whatever, but it's the world's most surprising economic success story is North Korea. And like, I don't know if you've been seeing, but like Pyongyang, their capital, they did a thing where they built a whole big neighborhood, and you get headlines like, they're building ghost cities, like North Korea's building fake towns that no one lives in. And then
China of the same thing.
Exactly. And then when they're done, people move in, and then it's like, look at this nice little area they just made. They're like calling it the Manhattan of Pyongyang.
The whole ghost city notion is like, they built a city where nobody was, and then people moved into that city. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's literally how it works.
There are a lot of advantages because you don't have to worry about like blocking traffic to do construction. It's like, no one lives here yet, so we can just build it all. And then, all right, come on in, everybody. Like, we got everything done. You know,
Yeah, that was for years. That's what we were hearing. That was the whole rhetoric around China. Like, oh, they just built ghost cities.
they
It's
built
fake. No,
big
nothing's
cities.
there. Yeah, it's there. They built something somewhere out in the. We saw from his photos, just like in the areas he was, how gigantic that it is. And yeah, if you go and build something where nobody is, and then you make an entire city, then you're like, okay, we cut the ribbon, guys. People, if you build it, they will come.
We're getting
So yeah.
that nonsense map where they have like South Korea with lights and North Korea has no lights. Well, look, they're even using. They're like, look, here is like 2019, 2025, so many more lights. I don't think that the
Right?
number
Yeah,
of lights is
that's our
like
metric here.
that is funny, but it's like that map was kind of BS. Even when they like put it out as like an own or as like a meme, but
Mm.
it's really untrue. Recently, what do we got? And there's just like pictures of people doing tourism in North Korea. There's Lukashenko and Kim. And this article does a lot to be like, North Korea is only doing well because Russia and China keep giving them a bunch of money. And it's like, well, I don't know if that's the only reason. But here we have Kim's nuclear program thus far has proven to be a deterrent against military attacks or attempts to forcibly unseat him from power, enabling him to shift his focus on the economy. It's kind of the thing that we were like told, theorizing all along, where it's like North Korea is really poor because they keep blowing all their money on military stuff and not using it to invest in their own people, which sounds like a pretty valid criticism. That's like what, as when I was a kid, I'm like, yeah, man, they should just stop building all these bombs and
I know a
feed
country
people,
that's
man.
doing that.
People are starving. But the thing is, like, well, if you don't have the bombs, you don't get to do anything because you're going to be constantly freaking snipped at by the U.S. like we used to do. We were constantly doing our freaking BS CIA Fidel Castro ass operations that didn't work. And now that they have their nukes, guess what they have done? They are spending money on the people. Now it's happening though. The thing they said would never happen because Kim Jong Un is a psychopath. He's crazy, just like they say about Iran, just like they say about Russia. Anybody we don't like, China, they're
It's the
crazy,
same argument
psychotic.
over and over again. You guys,
They're
I mean, really
psycho dictators that
yeah.
just act out of animal bestial instinct.
yeah,
It's like,
think about that for a minute. Like, just think about that. Like, you don't have to agree with anything we say, but just does that make sense to you? Like, honestly, does
They
it make
have a
sense
bad
to you that
brain.
everybody but the United States is crazy? Everybody but? Come on now.
And they're all the people who weirdly are not on that island eating children. Kim Jong, as far as evidence has shown, is not an island baby eater.
Yes, yeah.
None of his family has been. All right. Where are we? The economic progress dims hope for a nuclear deal with the U.S. because why the fuck would they? Since Washington has often dangled sanctions relief for economic incentives to get Pyongyang to freeze, halt, or relinquish its nuclear program. North Korea's economy expanded 3.7%. That's greater than the U.S. In 2024, its fastest rate in 8 years, according to the most recent figures from South Korea's central bank, which uses spy agency data to produce its estimate. South Korea, so even the haters have to be like, they're up 3.4%, man, 3.7%. South Korean think tanks estimate the growth has continued. Its economic standing is strongest since Kim assumed power nearly 15 years ago and likely exceeds any point during the tenure of his father, Kim Jong-il, who ruled from 94 till he died in 2011. And then we go on. We got some more clips. Like here's a British dude who's running in like the Pyongyang marathon. It's like, look, there's people.
People being people, hanging out, having a good
people.
time, watching this guy run on the marathon.
Wealthier than ever. Just 5 years ago, North Korea and seemingly Kim himself appeared to be on the ropes. Fear of COVID triggered border closures and caused a plunge in trade with China, North Korea's main benefactor. Energy shortages caused coal mines to halt production. Basic food items such as vegetable oil and sugar became scarce on store shelves. Moscow's then ambassador to Pyongyang told Russian state media in 2021, and you'll look, we got the... We got the charts where it's like your GDP, all right, it's going somewhere. Oh no, COVID is really bad. And now the last couple of years, oh, it's coming back. More than a year into the war, because the economic slump began to reverse after Russia's February 2022 invasion of Ukraine. North Korea is like on the ground in Ukraine, like actively. They're very active in helping out Russia. So their relations are better than ever, and they're going to say that that's where all of their economic growth came from, was just in these last couple of years because they're helping out Russia. And I mean, it's certainly something, but what is North Korea's other option? To die because they are blocked off.
Like, you're not
from
allowed to
normal
trade with
economic...
anybody. It's not
you
allowed.
Can't trade with anyone but Russia and China, and now they're going to be like, well, these assholes are just trading with Russia and China. And it's like, I wonder why.
And everybody's crazy. So it was just crazy trade with crazy. Nobody just trying to survive and enrich themselves a little bit. It's just because we're constantly told. Now the argument has become like they're letting their people live. They're not letting they're not using their puppet government to do the bidding of a few billionaires. So that's insane. Do you guys get how insane that is? Like that's the argument that they're trying to ply everyone with at this point. And this shit is wearing really, really thin. I mean, probably not. Honestly, I think probably still a lot of people buy this. I would have to say, like, you just go talk to any random person and they'll be like, oh, China, oh, Russia, oh, North Korea, and you're like, oh my God, okay. Thanks, 1998. This is great. This is real helpful.
This is zooming down because I just, how can you hate this guy?
Right? I feel the same way. I'm like, come the fuck on. Like, this guy is not your enemy. Give me a break here.
His daughter's always there. He seems to. He spends time with his daughter. He's a girl dad. He's like our age.
Yeah, right.
He's like 40. He's not that old. He's a millennial world leader. All right. The regime. Look at his regime. He's expanding state-run shops. Expanding state-run shops and pharmacies to replace black market activity, and new factories in rural areas are producing state jobs for traders who previously engaged in
ghost
smuggling.
Factories, you mean?
And said Lee Song-yong, a researcher who has a network of sources inside the Kimberley. That's the other thing. All the stuff the articles are saying, this is based on like snuck out information from I mean, I always am in favor of more information. I think it'd be great if North Korea was in a position to be more open, and maybe they even are, but aren't being so. But it seems like the strategic course that the Democratic Republic of Korea has been following for a while is working. So, like, who am I to say anything about North Korea or their? It's just not my business. But I'm glad that it seems things are getting nicer for the average North Korean. They have a whole thing about how look, they got cars now, and it's like, yeah, because there are a lot of probably Chinese ones. Driving is now so wide. Oh yeah, you probably saw an article that for the first time and maybe ever, North Korea had like a traffic jam because now people have enough cars where it's like, oh shit, there's traffic now. In April, Kim toured a new neighborhood of residential skyscrapers in the Hwasong district, which shares a name with North Korea's intercontinental ballistic missiles, capable of reaching the U.S. mainland. There's like, look, this is how we built this because we made these missiles. A pair of 40-story residential towers was painted red to resemble missiles. Earlier this year, families of North Korean soldiers killed in Russia were given apartments in the district. All right, I hate how that makes it sound like.
By the way,
it makes,
given apartments.
Given. People do not pay. You don't pay rent in North Korea. You do not pay income tax in North Korea. You don't pay taxes at all. North Korea does not have taxes. Let me repeat that. North Korea does not have taxes. So when you hear like libertarians going off like taxation is stuff, I'm like, I agree. Let's be more like the DPRK. And they're like, what? Yeah, man, you just don't pay taxes there. Chinese exchange students have provided glimpses on social media of life in Pyongyang, including photos of department stores featuring cosmetics with Chanel's logo and sunglasses with Ray-Bans. That's because China makes all this shit, so they can just be like, here you go, have some Chanel.
Here, have it.
And then they're like, look, they sell phones.
Yeah, right.
They're listening to the people's demands. All right. Ending thing. Zoe Stevens, a British citizen, has led groups to North Korea as a tour guide. Before the pandemic, she recalled all payments were in cash. Visiting Pyongyang last year, she saw more locals buying with their smartphones. There are apps to order food, basic staples, even prescription medications. They were using delivery services, cash payment apps you can pay through your phone, she said. And that's how they end the article. It's really funny. But,
right?
yeah, it actually begins with them like, we could use the equivalent of Uber. It was way faster to get a cab. And I think definitely within our lifetimes, probably pretty darn soon here, you're going to have where North Korea is going to look a little bit more like current day China, which is, of course, they're already kind of on the way to. And soon, I'll be saying that I would rather be poor. I would rather be pretty soon. We're headed towards a future where the opinion probably is that you'd rather be poor in North Korea than poor in America.
Yeah, I agree. They're on the way to something, and we show you that to demonstrate the fact that everything is lies, basically. Because we still
can do it.
We are still fed the same rhetoric over and over that everybody's crazy, everybody's poor, everybody's stupid, except the West and the United States.
And that improvement is impossible. That it's impossible to improve your situation.
Yes.
North
Yeah.
Korea's doing it, man. Why can't
Right.
like I don't know, Wilmington, Delaware do it?
Yeah, right. That's the whole thing. It's all lies, and we know that it's all lies. And on top of that, we're led by these. That's again why I say Trump is a smokescreen, which to the surprise of no one, and just the way that Biden was. We can Bernie's up these guys, in the same reason that Democrats get so old they literally die in their seats. It's because they're serving no function. It's the same reason that when Bernie has no power or control of anything, literally in one interview says, I support Israel. And then the other one is like, AI bad? Guys, let's do an AI bad bill. And like, oh yeah, all right, okay, guy who's in charge of every fucking thing. All right, whatever. Like everybody's getting really fucking sick of this. But the thing is also is nobody knows where we're going, And so we were talking about something before the show, and I'm not trying to be like, spoiler alert, here's where we're going, because I want to outline this in a big circle. I do not support or have any interest in Hunter Biden, okay? Like, I want that to be really, really clear for the next thing that I say. But I wanted to mention it before we were over, because this is so fucking funny. And we both kind of met in the middle on this. I came from one side and he came from the other. And I said, he meaning Jared, not he meaning Hunter Biden. Like I'm secret talks with Hunter Biden over here. No. What I mean is that I posted on our pages. I thought it was funny because Hunter Biden was trolling people on Twitter, and then this one really weird account that was supposed to be MAGA shit, but it was saying it was a parody account. I looked into it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't understand. And sometimes that's so confusing because I have had things like that happen to me before. Where super weird, like ultra mega, like the distorted version of things are post that they post, and then they'll come and get something from me, and I'm like, what like what do I have for you? Are you fake? Is this a bit? I don't get it. Anyways, point is that I'm getting at, there are those people out there, and it's is this real? Is this fake? I don't know what this is. But there was some sort of trolling that Hunter Biden said to somebody who was online and said that, okay, what state do you live in? I'm just going to come there and run for governor just to piss you off. And to me, I'm like, yeah, sure, fuck it. Because everything is so sacred at this fucking point. Go for it, bro.
I had an unrelated friend. I had a total, not very political friend who they got the screenshot of. It was somebody was like, you left that crack in the White House, and then Hunter responds, he's like, that's not true. I would never leave behind my drugs. And it's like, that is, yes. It is funny. And this makes me it reminds me about how 2 years ago or so, a commie that I like a lot, for its freaking logos, everything's always logo. But they're like, in the future, you will see a Hunter Biden candidacy, and it will be based on oh, come on, everybody deserves a second chance. My son had an opioid addiction, blah, blah, blah. We really got a feel for Hunter, blah, blah. And then oh, this is the beginning of the stages of getting people to generally think of Hunter Biden as a person, which, I mean, he should. he is a person. But it's going to be oh, this fucking millennial
the nicest thing you could manage to say. He is a person.
It's but he's going to be presented, and currently this is what it is. He's marketed as this aw shucks millennial chungus guy, where in reality he's just the son of the Biden crime family, which he sat on. Who hasn't gotten a no-show job for what is called Burisma, a Ukrainian oil
for a company that you don't know anything about in a language that you do not speak.
He was on the board for a Ukrainian oil company, and it's oh, I get it. It's because we're doing mafia shit. And then oh, cool, this war's breaking out a few years later, because it's just examples of how the U.S. is embedded and meddling in the affairs of, where you're not going to find Hunter Biden on the board of an oil company? North Korea, because they wouldn't allow that shit. You can't have Hillary Clinton's ex-cousin sitting on a Chinese tech company board while she does no work. That's not a thing that's allowed there, because it's not just that he's on the board, haha, let's get him some money. It's just the sign of we will accept this foreign prince into our court, so to show as a show of allegiance to our real masters, the fucking US,
absolutely.
Whatever.
You have to do it. That has been a joke.
It's respect.
A joke in a lower levels, like in shows and stuff, like forever, you know, just about like, oh, in this company, like, oh, here's our boss's idiot son, like, or like, here's, you know, our boss's idiot cousin, like, you know, Parks and Rec did it with the Bobby Newport thing. Paul Rudd played this guy who was like, they were constantly propping up, trying to like get him to be like he could do politics, but he was just completely stupid and inept. And but that was the thing about it. But it was Paul Rudd, so everybody was like liked him, but he was just useless. But that, you know, so that joke of the nepotism has been there. The nepotism has been there all this time. But you know, that's the thing. And then when I mentioned that to Jared before the show, he's like, yeah. And suddenly I'm seeing all this talk about Hunter Biden constantly. Like, yeah, so it looks like they're softening him up. I come from the point of view of like, this guy would be like, I want to party all the time. I'm not running shit. So, but again, they don't actually run anything. So all he really has to do is be like, my fellow bros a couple of times a week. And that's all he'd have to do.
You don't have to set up a new one from scratch. You already have this guy who's already fully in the system. What, you think Hunter Biden can like rebel against this thing that he's been in for so long, a system that already has gotten him out of like multiple like gun charges and weird drug things, and then he got to sit and get millions of dollars just to sit on a board and do literally nothing. Like, he is a perfect exemplar of what I say our politicians are, which are like American Idol audition candidates, and he's great because he's zero risk. If they can get him through, they don't have to worry about him doing frickin' anything.
Right. Yeah. And I do now, I see how it could happen, and I see that it's even possibly likely, but I also come from the point of view that like right now, like we are already seeing what the end of an empire is. So like let's just laugh at the stupid tweet, right? Like that's kind of like sure, fuck it, you're probably gonna be the next fake overlord, but you know, like, oh my god, like that like if that wouldn't be like it like that, like if nothing so far has done it, that would be it would be over. There's a picture of these like barbecue, like for backyard barbecue plates for the 250th going around, and it's just got like 1776 to 2026, and people are like, pretty much.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking grave.
That's pretty much done. And it's no coincidence that historically that is like how long empires tend to last. They really cannot support themselves past 250 years in most cases. So like we're seeing the end of something here. And then we're seeing, you know, Trump obviously is polling at like the worst. Like, I don't have to tell anybody this, but he's polling at like the worst numbers like anybody ever has in history. So like, you know, like there's that going on, and that's what makes me think that they're also lying about his health, because we can tell that like this guy is really falling apart. But I think the funniest thing about it all is that, like, you know, he's not going to see any consequence of anything that he's done. He's not going to be taken to task. Sorry, liberals. He's not going to, you know, he's not going to jail. Nothing's gonna ever, they're not gonna take his money. Nothing bad's ever gonna happen to this man, ever. He's gonna have his ass wiped until he drops dead. That's what's going to happen for the rest of whatever life he's got left. So it's super funny when we get to see things not go his way. That's like the only thing we get. That last night at the NBA finals, he was booed. And then he fell asleep. So it's like the people have spoken, right? If they had tomatoes, they'd throw them. This whole stupid UFC fist fight on the lawn, like of the White House, like you've got liberals in one corner going, this is such a disgrace. This is who gives a shit, right? Fuck it, whatever. And then like that's all been handled wrong. It's all been done wrong. I don't know shit about UFC. I think it's fucking stupid. It's human cockfighting. I'm not here for it. But the thing of it is like the people that like would do that are like, we do this indoors under controlled conditions, not like President Camacho style out here doing what the fuck ever. So that's really not going to work for us. Also, like intense heat and shit. And really, it's just like another, like we're going to go for attempt number 4 at like fake assassination. That's really all this was just to try to you know, to stage another assassination attempt. But the funniest thing that's happened is this I don't know if you've heard about this. It's this 250 anniversary concert debacle that's happened. Like, okay, so like at first the news was reporting, well, all of these semi sort of almost a little bit close to next to adjacent mainstream people are playing there. So what happened? Everybody got really angry at those people. And they're like, what the fuck? We just booked a concert for the country. What are you talking about? Come to find out, they had intentionally named that concert almost the exact same name as a congressional national, like 4th of July type thing going on to make it confusing for the booking agents for people. So as soon as the people involved found out, they immediately started dropping out. So then you have Trump out here going, I don't even care. I don't even care about a stupid concert. Don't even come to my stupid concert. Lee Greenwood's going to be there. That's enough. Shut up. Shut up. So that happens. And then like more people drop out. And he's like, fine, fuck it. It's canceled. So like that's what happened at the concert. And I'm assuming the front lawn fist fight is going to go the same way. But I just really love like that's really, and I want everybody to really get in on that, because a lot of the time I'm just like whatever with whatever Trump says, whatever, and I think we're all like that. Like it means nothing, whatever, eyes on prize, don't be paying attention to this, it's just a distraction, which it is. But at the same time, it's really nice to see him come close to vapor locking because he got mad that nobody would come to his stupid fucking concert.
It is one of the few positives I'm pulling out of all this, is that the more people who come to the conclusion that our electoral politics realm is just nothing. It's at the very least, it's not worth putting your blood, sweat, and tears into, especially not your money. Like, let that happen. It matters about as much as like a season of the Great British Bake Off in terms
Right.
of how much it affects anything. Like, you can vote for whoever you want. The data center's getting built. Like, it didn't matter we got everyone on the city council to agree with us. Well, turns out there was a way for them to just go ahead and bypass all that shit anyway, and it's not even an American doing it. It's mostly this Canadian guy. Don't worry about it. Like, you can vote for whatever president you freaking want. It will not materially change anything, and if they try to materially change it, they're going to get shot, or they'll redistrict it, or, we found a scandal. Oh, you're impeached. You're out. Like,
right, yeah. Like, that's the whole mess that they're going on with this. What's this damn name? It's so boring, I can't remember it. You know what I'm talking, Graham something or other.
Graham Plattner is hilarious.
Okay, thank you. He has to do that for me every time, and it took me forever to remember Pete Hegseth's name. I could never get that
Graham
right.
Plattner in interview is like,
yeah,
he said that if you break into my house, I will rape you as a show of power. And it's like, okay, Graham, that sure is a sentence.
Yeah,
anyway, this is the progressive candidate, and you must vote for him, because the only candidate we will present you with is this guy who has like a Nazi tattoo and like it was tortured people in Iraq. We couldn't have just like a progressive. We have to have, so there is a progressive if you do 6 back bends, but also he's like, you're never going to be presented with an option that isn't fucking nonsense.
Yeah, and that's the point too. It's like, do you really think this is a situation like this structure, this how this all works? Do you really think it's real and believable and like actually considering you and your opinion when that is the option? Like, why are there always idiots? Why is it always yahoos? Why is it always psychopaths? And you'll get yahoo versus psychopath, and it's like, well, there's psychopath, but the yahoo guy, I guess. I mean, in my
Every
vote,
election's gotta
I gotta vote. It's my national right. Like, it's my franchise. Like, shut the fuck up. This is so stupid and fake. Like, and then,
we didn't even talk about California doing all its nonsense to keep out this one. Like,
the thing is that what pisses me off the worst about this, and I think this might be the headline here, is like, you'll have people who are like starting to kind of like come towards the left, and then or leftists who are like, this is horse shit, the system is fake, look at these options, it's all bullshit, it's just fucking money laundering, blah 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 blah. A new election will come up, and they're suddenly like, I will suck this guy's dick, I swear to God.
The hopium is coming back.
That's what
Katie
I mean.
Porter.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? What changed between yesterday
it's like
and
a gambling addict. It's like a gambling addict. It's like, no, this time is going to be different. Like, going back in the casino, man. It's like, dude, you ruined your life last time. Just get out. You got to stop.
Yeah, so we got some conversation in the chat going on. So shout out to Time Traveler and CPC Deuce and Scouse. Hi guys. What is the pillow? Are you meaning this one? That's patron Saint Swayze back there. He watches over me. So we have Time Traveler mentioned, oh yes, this is actually happening, and I hope it doesn't happen. But we have got talking about how the system doesn't work. We've got like maybe one of the dumbest, most useless idiot governors that there are. I mean, everybody hates this guy, but he'll probably get another term because everybody hates him so much. But
Everybody hates this guy, but he's the one who.
yeah,
It's
his name's
every
Mike Bond.
politician
He's
in
an
America.
absolute moron. Like, he is the moron of morons. He's king moron. So he's now going on about like, okay, here's how separate the United States and Israel is, guys. Like, he's now trying to tout this idea of paying Israeli companies to come to Indy fucking Anna, to move all of their garbage here and start businesses here. Like, okay, so there's nobody doing business in the United States. Like, that's not a thing. Like, there aren't other investments that can be made here, like grassroots investments. What the fuck is the connection then? Like, why would this be? Like, you think that Indiana wants like Israelis on our fucking streets? Because, well, first of all, they don't know anything about them. But you're gonna fucking find out. You're gonna be fucking finding out when they're here with all their weird fucking sex fetishes and sex crimes and shit, and like fucking like trying to like, you know, do all their goddamn bullshit. Like, I'm not even getting into that. I'm getting too angry. but Time Traveler makes the point that, yeah, that's how stupid shit is. And I'm sure that's happening all over the place. That's something that like, that shows you how, you know, useless and fake the government is, how they pretend that this isn't the, you know, they're allowing Israel to be the attack dog, to do all this stuff at the will of the United States. Everything is fake. And that's what we're kind of bringing it all around town here to say, like, okay, like, you have everything being fake, but then you also have these people who presumably are not ops and not agents and not being paid, just people you see online suddenly being like, oh, I'm all about this one random semi-Nazi guy now. You know, like, all of this stuff just doesn't make sense, and things can only fall apart so fast because it's all everything coming apart. We talked about AI earlier in the hour, in the data centers. And now there's a headline today where Sam Altman's talking about using AI like a utility, like metering it, and people are like, nobody even fucking wants it and it loses money. How's that supposed to do anything? So it's like, nobody is in control of anything at this point. And something that I did want to make a point about is, if you've been playing along at home all this time, we've been talking specifically about, like, okay, when things fall out, when it's over, when it's done, eventually the people running the government, paying for it, the donors, the corporations, the people, the heads of the snakes, they all are going to take their ball and leave for greener pastures. They're going to go elsewhere. When they have scraped the United States all the way down, they've sold it all for parts, there's nothing left, there's no future left. That's how you know it's done. They go, they leave, they find somewhere else to make deals to. Guess who just ran off to Argentina and enrolled his children in school? So it's not an actual, like, oh, we're just staying here for a minute because we do whatever the fuck we want. Peter Thiel has left the United States, and he cited the reason for an uncertain future in the United States, meaning economically. He has basically reoriented, like, this guy pretty much alone has reoriented everything that the United States government does into being a surveillance state, to be able to essentially sell off, you know, like, all of this, like, you know, software and equipment and business and things like this to the government, and the emperor has no clothes style, and then he fucking bails. So what does that tell you? That everything is just really going, like, everything's just really working out. Like, this is definitely an up and coming country, cutting edge across the, you know, cutting a path across the world. Like, no, like, everything is fucking stupid. And that should be your first indicator that there's nowhere left to go but down. We just have to hope that it's like, I don't know that it will be, and I don't feel like, I don't want to be anti-optimistic about it, because I just am so desperate for things to get better for everybody. But, like, is this not, like, what we've been saying? Is this not the end? When all the money that we gave, all the control of the government to the billionaires, when they leave, what happens? Like, I'm literally posing the question, what happens? It has to be some form of collapse then. So if we have the first open person, like, leaving, then, like, that means a lot of the ones that you don't even know their names because they're so rich and you never will, probably have already gone. And we sold the entire government to betray all the people to these people, and then they fucking leave. So, like, and then so the people arguing, oh, well, billionaires stimulate the economy. They're the ones that create. They're the ones that do. That's why rich people had never gotten taxed properly, even before all of this. We always got that argument. So what does this ultimately mean? You know, that's sort of like what, you know, I really want people to be thinking about. You're gonna have to at some point start connecting the dots between these things and saying like, okay, like another pebble on the scale, another pebble on the scale, another pebble on the scale. When you just keep dropping these things, and eventually something's got to happen. So where we come into this is that's why we're always talking about community. We're always talking about grassroots. We're always talking about stopping voting because it's useless. You got to get away from the system, and you have to do this. We have to at some point create the idea of a dual government, like something else, some other option that serves the will of the people in the 2020s and beyond. Like we can't keep creating these horrible data centers that are just meant to betray us and the rest of the world and destroy we have a climate crisis, but we're putting like death machines like everywhere you can look. But does that make sense to anybody? So it's like, yeah, we're all completely powerless. I'm powerless. Jared's powerless. Everybody's powerless. But at some point, it's just something's got to rise out of the ashes. And that's what we're trying to say to people. And there are a lot of people who are a lot smarter than we are about these kind of things, about organizing, about predictions about the future. So I hope that the smarter minds start to prevail and stop being like, as soon as like an election comes around, being like, oh, and running after the idiot candidate that just, it's like, you can't be legitimate. You can't be taken seriously if you're doing that kind of thing. Well, we're pretty close. You got any final thoughts for us, Mr. Mayor?
Now we'll see what we'll see if anything actually advances with the Iran situation, because I mean, it is kind of a step that, like, if Iran is willing to just like essentially go to war on behalf of this region that is, it's not that the region has abandoned its own sovereignty, but it's just a cluster of U.S. client states. And it seems that the strategy is they're trying to goad Iran into bombing more U.S. military bases, then that can justify more U.S. retaliation. But it's like, what do you mean more U.S.? Like, is the U.S. not trying its hardest to reopen the Strait of Hormuz? I think they are, and these like cheapo drones have kind of foiled that. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Blow even more billion-dollar missiles to get taken out by the Iran Iron Dome of $3,000 drones? Is that what we're gonna do? Is that just the strategy? Is gas gonna hit whatever a gallon? Because if you want to talk about things that would create a Bolivian style unrest, I think it would be that. I think it would be $25 gas, because people respond to their material conditions, and without a change in the material conditions, you can't really expect a change in the people. And we're all sitting here in our current level of misery, just kind of
adapting,
not overthrowing anything.
Right. Yeah, and what do we always say? It's like Americans will bend and bend and bend and bend and bend some more, and when you hit the breaking point, they bend some more, and then they bend some more and say, "Thank you, can I have another?" So that's exactly where we really are. And if things have gradually gotten worse, it's like the heat has been turned up on the water, and now we're used to the boil. So it's like at some point people have to start taking some ownership about things that are going on. In that way. And I think Iran has really brought a lot of, I got a lot of people have, sorry, I just lost my train of thought while I was saying it. No, I just think that Iran has really kind of opened up an avenue here of what could be, maybe waking people up a little bit more. But I always hope that people are going to get it. And then they come back and they're like, this guy, we got to vote for this guy. And it's like, please.
I mean, maybe it'll keep Lebanon from getting run over as fast, because it seems like
I really hope so, because they have been so responsible, right? Like they have really, like, that's the thing about Iran and all of this. Like, I think everybody thought that they were going to be so accelerationist and really just be like, fuck you, United States, nah, and like that was going to be the situation. But they haven't. They've really held the line. China's kind of done the same thing. They have not responded to
restraint.
Yeah, they've really shown a lot of restraint, and in the way that like they could just have gone crazy, right? Like, let's do war, but it's their homeland. They don't want it burned up or torn up or blown up or made useless. They don't want their people killed. They don't want their neighbors killed, even though they're not necessarily on the best of terms with all of their neighbors, because those are a lot of U.S. Proxies. But even the Saudis, where the real money is, are starting to be like, hey, U.S., suck it. Like, we're pretty much done with you. And if you lose the Saudis, you have lost everything at that point. So the idea that I'm trying to to say here is that they have shown this massive restraint, and we all kind of hoped like, oh, they'll go after Israel, and we still do, but they're kind of abiding by like kind of a tit for tat situation. They're like kind of letting Israel show their ass, and then what we really, I think as Americans are really like, get them, like we really want them to get stomped, and we really hope that they come to stand up for Lebanon, but it's also kind of not their responsibility to stand up for Lebanon. So they're playing a very strategic game in terms of that. But will they get tired of doing that? Will eventually because it is on their home turf. It's not like us as Americans over here have to worry about like shit getting bombed unless it's a false flag type of a situation. So it remains to be seen. And we're always in the speculation zone. We're not reporters and we're not there, so we don't know what's really going on. But we know when things sound real and when things sound fake, and we know when it's time to laugh at Trump and have some fun.
Trying not to be one of those people who just makes crazy predictions constantly and that just don't happen.
Right.
I've listened to, even just in the last couple of years, I've listened to so many people so many times be like, that's it. It's over, blah, blah. And then it's like a week later. All right, now it's really over.
It's really over, right? Yeah.
It's like nothing ever happens, apparently.
So, yeah, we have our speculations. And that's what, like, everything we say, we're kind of non-committal about. We know
they
that.
They were saying that the U.S. regime was falling apart back in Vietnam.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Oh, that's it.
But it has
done.
been, though. It has been. The U.S. has really been circling the drain since it figured out it could blow the head off of a president in the middle of a parade and then do it 4 years later to his brother. So, like, basically, like, that's where the end started. But again, like, if you want to look at the history, it took like 1,000 years for Rome, or it took probably like 100 and some years for Rome to fall after being around for 1,000 years. So, like, it takes a while. So I would not be surprised if, like, when I say I think we're in the collapse, that is just what I think. Like, maybe we're not, but that's something that history will tell. Like, oh, it really happened. It started in the 60s, but it really happened in earnest in the 20s and whatever. So we will see. That's not really for us to say. I just, based on what I have observed historically, like, I think that's probably where we basically are. So yeah, we're about time. So we'll see. Maybe we'll be here if things don't super collapse over the week. We'll be here next week and back talking with you. We've had remarkably good technological voodoo this week. We haven't had any real big problems, but you guys, we know that you all know what it's like to use American internet, so we do the best we can. So we all got pretty lucky this week. So yeah, if we will join you again the same time next week. So if you have any thoughts that you want us to talk about, any questions or any topics, right now it's been kind of a good time to kind of get to some of the off things that we don't really get to talk about when there's a lot of headlines mowing everything down. So if things kind of continue on this way a little bit, we can kind of talk about some of these other things. So if you want to reach out to us on our socials, we're hard to find because we say the wrong words. So we don't come up in searches very easily, but you can find us. We're there, Social Contract, where you can find us. So you can throw us a line or follow us or whatever, share content, whatever. You can see all of our old videos, our entire archive on YouTube, our YouTube channel, and on our Rumble channel, and we broadcast live on Twitch and YouTube weekly. So in this, we are live at this moment. We know that the restream, that's the software we use. So we know that the restream confuses people sometimes. So we broadcast live on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. So that's when, if you tune in at that time to those channels, you will see us live. Otherwise, you can watch our shows at your leisure. So thank you for being with us, and we really appreciate you. So take care of each other and try to stay sane in this world and just hold the line, and we'll figure this all out, and hopefully smart people will start doing some smart things eventually. So take care, everybody.